You're really the person we turn to when you think about how they're innovating, where they're pushing forward. Were you surprised by the overall sales growth when many thought that iPhone 17 wasn't going to be the catalyst that we'd hoped for?
I wasn't. And the reason is because, as I talked to you in the past, hardware refresh, when the actual hardware looks different, always drive upgrades. People still want to rely on the device that is in their pocket 24/7, but make it look different. And this year we got that with the Air, which is not the main seller for Apple, but it doesn't matter. It's getting people back in the stores to see the rest of the portfolio. It was really interesting yesterday that Cook mentioned that supply issues on the 16 model, not just on the 17. And that is a good reminder that a new model every September brings people back in stores and upgrade to previous models as well. It's not just the latest, it's the portfolio with maybe some price adjustment and some carrier promotions that drive that upgrade.
Fewer upgrades going on in China, though. What did you make of the pullback, the surprising pullback in that particular region?
I think part of it is the economic situation in China. We have seen kind of hot and cold from a consumer perspective. The timing was later in the quarter, so it takes a little bit longer from a supply chain perspective. We also need to remember the supply chain has moved away from China, so there is some adjustment to make as well because of the U.S. and the production shifting to India. But the most important thing is what Tim Cook said, which is signals towards the end of the quarter was positive. People were going back into the stores. But the big quarter for China is always Q1. That is Chinese New Year. By then, there's hope that the supply constraint that Apple has had, especially in the higher models, which is usually where China gravitates towards, will be resolved. And that's where the big quarter should come in. And if it doesn't, that's when I'm going to start worrying. But for now, I'm not worried.
And they digest the eSIM situation as well. I spy a Cowboy Carter memorabilia behind you. I love that tour too. Let's just talk about the services side. The music side is part of that. But services really is what drove the strength at the moment. Can that be reliable going forward when we think about the regulatory pressure on the App Store, for example?
I think it can, because more and more is really content and is also advertising. We've seen Apple close the deal with F1, so they'll start streaming F1, which is becoming more and more popular in the US and across the globe, with a demographic that Apple is really, really keen in keeping and growing, which is Gen Zers and younger millennials. So I think that is real the opportunity for Apple is on the content side, is the engagement side, and that also over time will come into play with Apple Vision Pro.
I mean, very briefly, what about the AI side?
Well, we have been promised an improved Siri coming in 2026. And as we discussed before, Apple has some time to figure this out. I think that most of us have figured out what AI can do for us in a productivity setting, but not yet on a personal way. And I think that's where Siri is going to play the most.